Alright, so Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remastered was just released, in case you didn't know, and for those of you who are a bit skeptical, you may be thinking, okay, what's the big difference between the remastered version and the version that I already have? Is Paizo literally just trying to sell me the exact same damn books that I bought 5 years ago, or that I literally just bought when I switched over from D&D?
This is literally just a cash grab. This is ridiculous. I'm just gonna make a tweet about this because fuck Paizo.
But wait, okay. Before you grab your pitchforks and torches and begin typing away on your favorite ranting website, let's talk about the reasons why you would or wouldn't want to buy these remastered versions of the Pathfinder 2nd Edition books that were released 5 years ago, or the books that you just recently bought, without having to go into the nitty-gritty details of the differences between the two books, and just cover the basic reasons why you would or wouldn't want to buy these new books. But first, let's talk about a brief history as to why Paizo is releasing these remastered books, so that way you can kind of understand why they're releasing basically the same books that they released 5 years ago. Okay, so basically from what I understand, Paizo was already planning on releasing a remastered version of Pathfinder 2nd Edition eventually, just not this quickly of course, because they were already collecting tons of feedback from the community as to what they liked about Pathfinder 2nd Edition, such as classes, actions, and so forth, and what they didn't, and were beginning to slowly create a plan as to what they wanted to change when they released a new edition or a remastered version and so forth. And they kind of wanted to release this remastered version with new streamlined rules, a better formatted book, new class features, equipment, and so forth. But once the OGL crisis with Wizards of the Coast happened, they made the remastered edition the top priority so that nothing in the current rules could be considered to be under the OGL, which could lead to a bunch of legal issues with WotC. But once the OGL crisis happened with the Wizards of the Coast, this put Paizo in a very weird legal position, because WotC could sue them for using OGL terminology like flat-footed or magic missile, which are all D&D terms technically underneath the OGL. So Paizo decided to make the remastered edition the top priority so that they could release this new edition of their game that would no longer be tied to the OGL at all, which means that they can't get sued by WotC. So to ensure that Pathfinder was protected from any further and potential legal issues with WotC, they removed any terminology and rules that could be tied to the original OGL that Pathfinder was built on. Because for those of you who don't know, Pathfinder was actually based on D&D 3.5 edition. Anyways, Paizo has remastered all of Pathfinder 2nd edition with new terminology, new class changes, features, and more. And all these new changes were published underneath the new Open RPG Creative License, or ORC, which means that WotC can't sue Paizo because they use the terms flat-footed, attack of opportunity, or magic missile. So in summary, the reason why Paizo has done this is because they want to get as far away as possible from the burning hellscape that was, and still kind of is, WotC and their grubby little money grabbers, hence the reason why they created the remastered version of the Pathfinder 2nd Edition books. But now that we've covered the reasons why Paizo decided to make these books, let's get into the reasons why you would or wouldn't want to buy these remastered books. And let's start off with talking about the reasons why you wouldn't want to buy them. Firstly, the game is essentially still the same. You do not have to buy the new remastered books if you don't want to, and if you want to continue playing the game how you're currently playing it, then you do not have to do anything. No one's gonna get super upset at you for playing the game how you want to play it. That is, unless you have a player who really wants to use the new rules and terminology or something. Plus, if you're a player and not a game master, then you don't really have a reason to buy these new books, unless of course your game master wants you to get them. But in all reality, if you're not going to be using the new rules, then you have zero reason to get these new books, unless of course you want to see the cool new artwork or what the new rules are and so forth. However, be aware that everything from the old version of Pathfinder 2nd Edition will be called Pathfinder 2nd Edition Legacy now, and will no longer be updated on VTTs, Path Builder, and stuff like that. But now let's move on to the second reason why you wouldn't really want to get these books, and that's the price, because TTRPG books aren't exactly cheap. If you really want access to the new rules, class features, actions, and stuff like that, the best bang for your buck are probably the PDF versions of the books, because they're a lot cheaper than the physical ones. But, and this is a very big but, keep in mind that all of the new rules, actions, class features, etc., everything that is going to be in the new remastered books is going to be over on Archives of Nethys completely for free. So in the event where you don't have the cash to buy the physical books, or in the event where you want to use the new rules and stuff like that, but you don't want to have to buy the books, then you can always just use Archives of Nethys because all the rules will be over there for free, and it's constantly being updated. At least the newer version of Archives of Nethys, the Legacy one, will no longer be updated, at least from what I understand. And thirdly, if you're anything like me and run pretty much all of your games online on a VTT like Foundry VTT for example, then all of the class features, rules, and so forth that are going to be in the remastered version will automatically be changed and updated onto Foundry, which is sick. And on top of that, something that's really cool is that Foundry is going to be actually adding a legacy version of Pathfinder 2nd Edition as a game system, I believe. So that way, if you want to use the old rules, you can just change your system over to that version. So that way, none of the new rules get implemented into your game and mess things up. But as a quick heads up or warning to all of you out there who are using Foundry and are planning on using the Pathfinder 2nd Edition legacy version on Foundry, keep in mind that some of the mods might lose compatibility because I'm assuming at least most mod creators will continue to use and update with the modern remastered version of Pathfinder 2nd Edition. So just keep an eye out and see if that happens, and hopefully it won't, but who knows. So basically the reasons why you wouldn't want to get the remastered versions of the Pathfinder 2nd Edition books is if you use a VTT that already takes care of all of that for you and automatically updates, meaning you don't have to buy the new books because all the rules are just already in that VTT to begin with, or if you don't want to have to fork over all the money to get the new books, or if you don't even plan on using the new books and rules and all that stuff, which is perfectly fine. But now let's talk about the reasons why you would want to buy the remastered books. The first and biggest reason why you would want to get the new remastered books is to gain access to all the new content, obviously. The new remastered books have new character class features, have given some much needed love and changes to the witch class, and Paizo has added new equipment, actions, and more. And some of my quick favorites of these new changes are the changes that Paizo made to the aid and disarm actions, which are now actually worth using. As a player for a particular game system, one of the most exciting things that can happen to your game system is getting new content or a new edition. And while this isn't a new edition, it is new content and a completely remastered look for the books. So if you're anything like me and want to have access to these new rules, actions, and so forth, then I would definitely recommend getting these books and supporting Paizo. But of course, keep in mind that all of these rules are for free over on Archives of Nethys. But moving on now to the second reason why you would want to get these books is if you're a game master who plans on introducing new people to Pathfinder 2nd Edition. The reason why I say this is because the legacy versions of the Pathfinder books were a little confusing to read through in terms of some of their formatting and from a brand new player's perspective. It's a bit daunting, especially as a new player, when you sit down to play a TTRPG and your game master throws this fucking thing down in front of you and says, hey, wait, it's not that bad, I swear. It's only like, what, 600 pages long, and some of it's only game master related stuff, so like, come on, it's not that bad. But now what's super nice is that Paizo is splitting up the rule books based on what role you're filling at the table, as in, are you a player or the game master? So basically what this means is that they've taken the game mastery guide and the core rulebook, which are the legacy books, and split them into the player core 1 and 2 and the GM core. However, the Player Core 2 isn't coming out until next year, sadly. This makes learning the game and the rules a lot more digestible and easier, or at least in my humble opinion, because when you separate the rules into different rule books based on what role you're trying to fill at the table, such as game master or player, it makes things a lot nicer because you don't have to share one massive rule book. And having one rule book was great, don't get me wrong, because you only had to buy one rule book essentially to play the game, but it just made things a lot more difficult because you had to share one massive book between the players and the game master. And it was a little confusing for newer players when they were flipping through the book and then got to the Game Master section and were wondering why that is even in the core rulebook that's primarily player rules, if that makes sense. But on top of that, the books have been reformatted to make finding rules and information a lot easier, which is super nice for new players who aren't familiar with the rules and where to find them. Plus, if you're a Game Master, finding equipment and spells is a lot easier in the remastered books, at least in my opinion. So if you plan on teaching people how to play Pathfinder 2nd Edition, I would definitely recommend getting the new remastered books, or at least the PDF versions of them, because they make learning the game a lot easier. And lastly, the third reason why you might want to get these remastered books is just because you want to support Paizo, because they're cool and they're not a company that's owned by an evil mastermind corporation that wants to exploit the tabletop gaming community for profit while simultaneously ruining an entire game system. Paizo is a company made and run by massive tabletop role-playing nerds. They're fair in their pricing for their books and content, consistently work with the community in planning events, having big sales, playtesting new content or classes, and were one of the pioneers that helped write the Orc license. And the best thing about Paizo is that they don't ask for your money outright. I mean, sure, they'd like it, but you don't have to pay a single dollar to them and still have access to all of the rules for Pathfinder, which are consistently updated whenever new content is released over on Archives of Nethys, which is something that I will always respect Paizo for doing. And it's because of this, if you haven't already considered buying the physical books, to at least consider buying one of the PDFs for the book that's most relevant to you, whether that be the player core or the game master core, aka if you're a player or a game master. But anyways, those were the nice, quick, and simple reasons why you should or shouldn't buy the new remastered books for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. And if you want to watch another quick, simplified video that talks about the specific differences between Pathfinder 2nd Edition and the remastered version, then go check out KingOogaTonTon's video linked in the description down below, because he did a fantastic job talking about all the big changes that Paizo made with the remastered edition, while also keeping the video nice, short, and sweet, while also making it really easy to understand. But as always, everybody, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll be sure to see you in the next video. Take it easy. Bye-bye.